Boom. Let's get into it today.
Let's just jump. Rant. I mean, it's pretty rare that you and I get into a rant prior to getting on, but we've been talking to some people. You
missed a half-hour conversation about the music business.
Don't worry, we'll recap it with
secret.
less. So, well, it's more that we were talking about people we know and that know us, and we want to make sure that we are respecting their privacy. That's all.
As if anyone knows this podcast, you know it's called 2 Shots Music Respectful Pod.
Cocksucker.
Which is just a horrible name. It's worse than the name we came up with. SEO-wise. Welcome to 2 Shots and a Royalty Check, brought to you by Venmo, Your Money, Your Move, and Liquid Death, Murder Your Thirst. Let's get back into it. You know what I really like? You know what really gets them going on the internet? Respectful conversations.
Yeah.
Where all sides are sort of agreed upon and we come to a nice middle ground and everyone understands each other.
I just seek to understand. I'm not here for the conflict. I'm here for the snacks.
I'm just here for the snacks. Shit, that's the name of the next podcast.
Oh, my God, yes. So we're having a conversation about money.
Here's what's hilarious. All morning long, so I got to get this in because we got to have a little bit of fun. Everybody else is just green. All morning long. I cannot get that fucking thing out of my head. I can't even get to the next verse.
Really? Just that one line?
Have you seen the chart? I can't even get to it.
I have seen the charts.
I'm just walking around. Everybody else is just green. Just all morning long since 5 a.m.
Fantastic. Well, did one of your cats meow in a Roger Waters-esque fashion?
One of my cats was whispering, "Have a cigar" in my ear all night. Yeah.
Come in here, dear boy. Have a cigar.
By the way, which one's pink? Okay. So, money. Do musicians need money? No. Okay, next conversations.
Well, see you later.
Okay, so something we see come up a lot. Let's frame this a little bit. Something we see come up a lot is, especially with artists who have been around for a little bit. Maybe they've done a record or two, an album or two, or they've been a band for a while, and they hit a point where they're like, if I could just get an investor. Or a label, and a label is an investor. It's a loan.
Yes.
Or a manager that would invest their time and their money in me. Or, an outside investor. If I just had some money, I could get the fans that could move, streams, records. I could book more gigs.
I could get to that next level.
Yeah. Or maybe they think if I had some money invested in my project, I wouldn't have to work my job as much. I'm not really sure what the thinking is. I know when we were doing it, when my band was doing it and we wanted money, it was because we wanted to pay down debt from the touring van. We wanted to tour further. We had already put a shitload of money into it, and we were making, and this is even back in the day, we were probably making $200,000 a year as a band on the road. And so we were that's 200 and some odd shows a year, though.
Yeah.
And then plus some privates, and then your tacket, your tacket road gigs,
agent in Colorado.
So a nice $1,500 gig here and a $300 Thursday night over here. So whatever.
Yeah.
But
balance of all things.
But I think that a lot of bands get to the point where they're like, if we just had some more money. Maybe we could finance the next album, or we could do a PR campaign. I don't know what it is, but some of these newer people that are asking for money, they don't seem to have a business plan, Stu. They don't seem to tell you where it's going to go and how it's going to come back.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
I've seen bands that can tell you where it's going to go. We've been recording in our friend's basement, and we know that's not good enough. We want to go to a big studio with a big producer. That's going to cost some money with a good mixer.
Yeah.
And we know we have a certain amount of fans that bought this last record. Okay, that makes sense. Or we have, fans that are on the West Coast, and we just never able to get out there. And so that kind of, I know you can make money on that, some money. You can at least break even on that tour, maybe. Or you have no merch, and like, if I could get $5,000, we could print some T-shirts and, get some merch going. But at least I know in that, I know you can make money back. I know you can make 10 per product or whatever. So what are you seeing with some of the people that are asking money? Do they have any idea of what they would use it for?
I think that a lot of people are at this point where they just and unfortunately, as much as I would love to like say that you can do this, people want to just be an artist. Yeah, they want to I want to write songs and I want to perform songs and I don't want to deal with any of the shit that you're telling me I have to deal with.
Yeah.
And so there's a belief that having an influx of cash or capital to do all the other stuff, I can pay somebody else to do all the things I don't want to do, so I can focus on just being whether that's a record label or that's an investor or whatever. And the thing is, at this juncture in this industry, nobody's going to invest in you until you have proven that you can invest in yourself. And that means that you have to know kind of how to do it on your own before somebody else is going to help you do it.
Yeah, you have to at least have tried, and sweat equity doesn't count.
Mm-hmm.
Like fan base building is probably the quickest way to get you to extended money. And so this is a conversation that I was having with some people this weekend. There's a band I know. They're going to go viral on TikTok, I think, with this.
Fantastic.
But they basically had an A&R guy tell them, and they're blowing him up, by the way. But they had an A&R guy tell them, hey, we love you. We've been looking at, the work you've done. We like the new release. Mm-hmm. We don't sign anyone without 50,000 across Instagram and TikTok. And so they're like, yeah, thanks, pass. We don't, fuck you. They don't have 50,000 subs across everything, so they can't get this record deal. But I've said it a few times, and I'll probably say it again. In fact, I'll say it right now. If you get to 50,000 real subscribers, like engaged fan base, I'm not talking about padding or whatever, but real 50,000 across whatever, you don't need a record deal.
Amen.
If you can sell 25,000 copies altogether, however you want to count that up, of streaming, of real merch or whatever the album equivalent is, if you can sell that, you don't need a record label unless you want to go national, international. There's steps to this thing, right?
Yeah.
But that's like, you don't need them. It's just going to take you a lot longer to go to the next level.
Yeah.
Like you want to launch a national tour and you don't know how to do it. Well, that is one reason you might want a label.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to play international gigs and you have no idea what a VAT tax is, you might need a label. You might need to understand neighboring rights for your publishing and, shit like that. So, but I think that most bands, when they're like, oh, we just want some more money because I don't want to do this stuff. You're still going to have to do it.
Yeah, that's the other piece is like we've both been involved in label deals throughout our extensive careers, and
remember
and the
thing 90s?
1890s. What's up? But it doesn't matter where you are in the thing. You still have to do all the work. If you're looking for somebody to help you with your social media and you have a team, you still have to be part of the content. You still have to be part of the creation of that product. You still have to be in the photos. You still have to go do the morning shows. And at a certain point, you no longer have control over your own schedule. Somebody else is doing it for you, and they're telling you where to go, what to wear, how to do it, and who to do it with.
Yeah, I mean, the big key to hiring someone to do something is what we used to call, you guys back in the day, a Rolodex. It's really, you're buying contacts, right? So if you're getting a booking agent, you're willing to give up that 15% or whatever it is for booking. Well, it's because you don't know all the talent buyers. It's because you don't have relationships with venues and all that, or other band management that you can buy onto a tour and all that. If you're doing it with PR or with a radio campaign, well, it's because you don't know those editors. You don't know those PDs. You don't know those music directors. And so like that's kind of what you're doing. But I will tell you, especially today, the last client I had that wanted me to do stuff for them, like what we call music promotion these days, which is just so much more than you think it is. But it has to do more with social media, pushing a song and pushing a band, trying to funnel fans in, as well as like tightening up your foundation to get more social media to different fans and gain fans to get more people to shows. It's not like it used to be you just promote an album. Now you have to tie it all in. That's really what music and video views and subscribers and YouTube channels and all of it, right? But I will tell you, the second I was hired, and this isn't just me. I could show you Create Music, and there's a few other groups that I've worked with in the past that do the exact same thing as I do. You hire me, and you are just about to get 4 pages of homework.
Yeah.
Like first of all, you're going to have to answer a ton of fucking questions and provide me with content, or I'm going to start doing the content, and then I'm going to ask you to do the follow-up content.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what to do, so you're not spinning your wheels. But like you immediately have more work to do. Like everyone thinks, oh, I'll pay someone.
Yeah.
But like that's for the work that you can't do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is planning, planning and telling you what will work.
Yeah. Even like I have, for all of my production clients, I have it's probably 9 pages long, step by step. Here's the bunch of the shit you have to do just to get ready to release your record.
Yeah.
Not like, this is not just stuff. This is not stuff that's like, this isn't even getting into the, how does Google ads work? This is like, this is
not
just
to go bigger.
like, not to go, but this is just get your shit together so that when you are ready to take that next step, you don't have to do all this other stuff, because the next time you do this and you already have all that shit in order, there's going to be another list of 10 to 12 pages of shit you've got to do.
Yeah, and like real artists and outfits, not real, but I will say those who are playing the game, you change it every release.
Yeah,
so you
exactly.
like, we call this a foundation plan, right? You do the run across your socials, you change all the graphics, you change all the things, you have to make sure your dates are correct, your pre-distribution and all that. That's just little stuff. But then there's the promotion side of TikTok and YouTube and Reels and blah blah blah. And then you have like the extra stuff, like, okay, I need all these photos of your handwritten lyrics. I need all these like studio shots. I need all those things in a folder, in a fucking Dropbox, by the way. Don't attach them. But like, there's a ton of stuff. And if you didn't know you had to do that, now you're like, oh my God, well, I just spent 2 months in a studio. We never took a photo or
Single
video.
fucking photo. Yeah.
It's like, all right, we'll go back in and fake it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Anytime somebody before they start working with me, they get this plan, and the first thing is there is a camera up at all times during these sessions. There's video, and I'm going to take photos, and we're going to shoot video of you handwriting lyrics in the studio at the expensive console, so you look like a fucking rock star, John Bon Jovi.
Yeah, and it has to that. The other thing that a lot of people, okay, so if you're listening and you're doing this, just continue to listen closely here. That's not professional photos. That's different.
No.
So like there's professional photos where I'd get a real photographer, and the real photographer does real shots of what you look like now in your band and all the rest of it. Those are meant to be social media plays. And like, so it is an iPhone. It is just regular, phones and videos and, that's regular shit. Like you don't have to, but like that's just time consuming. Then someone has to edit it. And then you want to make sure that it's part of the same color scheme and you've got a whole thing that you do.
Branding deck, baby.
Yes,
come on now.
It's just, and I know that everyone's like, but that's not about the music. No, it's about the fans.
Which is you're marketing to your customer. They are your customer.
And if you want to take it back a little bit further, which you've heard on this podcast many, many times, it's not even about the fans. It's about the what?
The algorithm, the computer.
The algorithm. Thank you so much. We're feeding the
welcome.
machine
I'm here for you.
so that the machine will show the fans, so that the fans will share with the other people. And that's how it works. And it's just how it works. I mean, you can bitch all you want. You don't want it to be that way.
Yeah, yeah.
But that is the way it works.
it-
By the way, David Gilmour is doing this right now.
Oh, yeah. He's
Behind the
fucking
scenes,
crushing it, too.
Videos, graphics. There's a black and white motif to the new album that's coming out. He's doing it with the live stuff, with the with the single that's coming out. Like David fucking Gilmour is doing it, or people that are around him who are younger and are like, dude, we have to do it this way now.
Hey, Grandpa, get in here.
You don't think David Gilmour could just be like, well, I mean, I was in Pink Floyd. I mean, I think I'm going to be able to sell some records. Of course. Of course he should, but it's not the way the world works anymore.
Yeah.
And it's
he's
just
78
nice to see
fucking years old.
It. Yeah.
Yes. And that's the again, I believe that every artist cares about their art. Like, I believe that y'all really, like, this is like, and I love you and I'm fucking here for you, and we are, despite the fact that it may sound like we are being a bunch of negative Nellies up in here, we are not. We are actually scrambling to give you information so that you can find the most success for your art. But if you fucking love your new record, your new single, any of that stuff, give it the best opportunity to succeed, and just fucking learn how this is done. Learn this part of the game. Learn how to play with the computers and not play against them. Would you like to play a nice game of chess? That is my War Games reference for the day, because I am old. And but if you love it and you're really proud of it, this is the part where you really show it to people. I don't know how many times I've had in the conversation in the last couple of months where somebody has said to me, oh, I didn't make it to your show because I didn't see it on Facebook.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they go, well, I don't know why you didn't see it. You must not care. No. The computer that it was fed to did not show it to that person because they are not engaging with your shit on the regs.
Yeah.
So if you want your people to see it, you either A, have to run an ad campaign so that even just to show it to the people that are already subscribing and following you.
Yeah. Just show it to that demographic.
Show it to that demographic. Or you need to start engaging more. And one is faster than the other.
And it can't just be about music.
It can't just be about music.
Like, you gotta just give away joy and like make some jokes and like comment on the Drake and Kendrick thing or like whatever. It doesn't really matter. Like, I don't think that musicians really get this. They try to go and like slug it out on social media trying to get attention for the music, and it's like, so I told someone this on Friday night, and he was really, really pissed at me. So I'll say it
we
here,
seem to be doing that
so
lately.
Everyone else can be pissed at me. But he was like, I don't understand the social media game. I'm sharing my lyrics, like you said. I'm sharing my songs. I'm sharing, but it's a lot of back catalog. If I don't have a new song out, like, what do I do and whatever? I was like, well, just share a meme, make a joke.
Yeah.
He was like, about what? I was like, about the world, about like what's going on. What did you like? And he was like, I just don't understand. Like, why would you do that? I was like, okay, I'm just going to be honest with you. You know who people like to watch on social media? Cool. You want to watch, like, you want someone that's funny. That's cool. He's cool. That's it. That is fucking it. It's not whether or not you're the best musician in the world, not whether or not you're the best looking person in the world. Are you cool? Like, are you cool? Do you just come off like authentic? Be a fucking person online. Bitch about your morning. Talk about the shows you've watched. Yes, I'm not talking about posting every lunch you have, but like, talk about what you made for dinner. Like, there are tons of things you can do on social media to entertain and to give a little window and insight into who you are as a person. And you will see that comes right back to you, where like people know that, like, I will post something about how I didn't sleep well last night or whatever, and then I'll make a little funny joke or whatever, and the comments are full with damn cats. Yeah. I didn't even say it was the cats, right?
But we all know better.
People kind of know, and that's not like, that's not me giving up some personal part of my soul. It's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's just being a normal person with the people that you interact with online. And I don't fucking share everything either.
No, of course
not. But like, this is something that everyone is missing about, like, the game. If you're trying to do the game, and that's what this is it's kind of, you got to play it a little bit.
Yeah, this is part of it. Absolutely. I had somebody ask me that I've got a person that is starting to, they're kind of new to the socials, shall we say? And like I'm having them, I said you got to be in there, you got to be engaging, you got to be doing stuff, you got to be doing things like that aren't just about your music. Well, and the first question, of course, I get asked is, well, when can I start talking about my new music? and it's like I understand that you really are very, very excited and very proud of this, and of course we want that, but you have to let people know who you are first before they're going to give a shit about what your songs are.
This is Amway, dude. It's Amway shit.
Yeah.
Don't come walking in my house when I invited you over for drinks and go, hey, let me tell you about Amway. Like, I mean, I think people need to think about music that way. It's like,
you're going to have to define Amway for the youngins.
Oh, okay. Mary Kay. Well, like, what's the new thing?
Avon, whatever.
Lululemon, whatever the thing is that you're trying to sell your fucking people.
Let me talk about my bare minimals makeup.
Yeah. How many conversations of fun do you need to have before you try to sell your friend something? That is when you put your music in front of them. Like, whenever that is. And like, they should know that that's what you do.
Yeah, of course.
But don't start off with, hey, you want to buy something? Hey, you want to buy something? Hey, come to my show. Hey, tickets are $25. Hey, I have an album coming out. Hey, have you heard my new single? Hey, go to Spotify. Hey, you should go to YouTube. Did you see my video? Like, do you see how that sounds?
Yeah.
Like, it's just you're an asshole. Be cool.
Be cool, bro.
Be cool, man.
Yeah.
And watch how many people are like, hey, do you have a new song out?
Yeah. Yeah. The more people engage with the funny stuff that has nothing to do with the music, the more they're going to see and engage with the stuff about your music, because they're going to see it.
And this isn't only indies, by the way. Like, this is shit that like Selena Gomez does.
Yeah.
Where she'll do fun TikToks and then do a cooking show.
Yeah.
And by the way, okay, I'm not dropping huge hints here, but major labels do this kind of thing where then you have your social team. They have teams, street teams, right?
Yeah.
Then you have your social team come in, and one of the demographic plants comes in and goes, hey, Selena, we're waiting for a new song. Where's the new song of the summer? And then someone else goes, yeah, what about this? Do you have a new song coming out or a new record coming out? Are you working on anything? Like, they'll have fans ask. They're not fans. They're actually street team. And then Selena will come in and go, you guys, I'm so excited. On the 21st, this song is coming out. It's yours on the 21st.
There you go. And it's like going to a magic show in the 1900s. That is not a stranger that they discovered. Although, have you seen Justin Wilmore's Magic for Humans?
Holy shit, I just got that. Let me get a volunteer from the audience. What? You mean he knows him?
That guy's, I've seen this show 14 times, and that guy is always fucking
He's here every time.
Every time. Yeah.
And he still doesn't know how the saw works.
Yeah. Oh, I can't believe I thought my arm was gone.
All right, so if you want money.
If you want blood.
If you want blood, you got it. If you want money or a manager or an investor or a label or whatever, then you need to understand that you need to have a business plan. And what is your return on investment, ROI? You might see that huge word somewhere. Oh my God, it's scary. Return on investment.
Who's this Roy fellow? Isn't he a goalie for the Avalanche at one point in time?
Wow. Because here's the problem, you guys. None of you are going to be able to pay that investment back. Almost all of you will lose that fucking money. So if you want to find an angel that's willing to burn $50,000 on you, great. But I will tell you, it's a lot easier to get a 10 or a 15 or a $20,000 person if you can prove you put in 5 or 10. Now, as the band, say you got a 4-person band, did all 4 of you put in $2,500? Well, that's not too bad. You could save up $400, $500 a month and save up for half a year, and now's your $2,500. It's not that hard, you guys. Really, I mean, I know that sucks to hear for people that are, look, I know that people are having trouble with inflation and all the rest of it. Oh, yeah. But we're just talking about a business. If you're fucking serious about it, don't tell me you don't have any money because I see your 4 guitars and I see your amps. Don't tell me you have no money.
Oh.
I see your $400 mic. Don't tell me you have no money. I see your Mac laptop. Okay, so you've got some. It's just a matter of how long it would take you to save up some more. And if the whole band did it, if 4 of you saved up, say $300 a month, $400 a month, you could get to that $10,000 level and then ask somebody to match you. That's literally the way to do it.
Yeah.
Put some skin in the game. Ask someone to match and go, hey, look, this is our plan, and we're going to hire Michael and Stu, and they can run us up to 25,000 subs, and we can get about 200,000 streams, and that 200,000 streams will be worth, I don't know, $500 is nothing, but hopefully it will knock up our pay for like local gigs and live gigs. By the way, 200,000 streams is $800, but that's the first part, right? You get those 200,000 streams, now you have probably 100,000 monthly listeners the next time you do it. Like it's all a long-term investment.
It compounds itself, yeah. It does. It builds on itself, and that's again. We're not talking to the person that wants instant fame, and just wants to get the big blast of things and then retire. This conversation is for those of you that want to have a long music career and keep doing this. This is the state of the industry right now, and this is the way it works. And if you can learn to play this game now, you have a much better chance of continuing to play the game of your chosen career choice for a long time.
And speaking by the way, don't try to get a label deal. Just license.
Oh, God, I love that word.
Let them take a piece of it.
Yeah.
License to Sony. License to Universal. That's the way you do it.
I agree.
Okay.
Own your shit. Okay, so, now we've solved everything. Should we just go have tacos?
Yeah. Fuck it.
Perfect.
Should we get into the big question?
The big question.
All right. So Sam Ash is closing all 42 stores. It's been around for 100 years. This is a brick and mortar musical instrument store. They're going to be filing bankruptcy. As you know, Guitar Center, someone I worked with years ago, outed Guitar Center as basically a front for money laundering. The only reason they are still around is because of hedge funds losing billions of dollars, and it's a slush fund. But anyway, that aside, brick and mortar stores are being killed by, Sweetwater, Amazon, Reverb. Yeah. It's a lot easier to have it just shipped directly to you. However, it's muy necessary on the road, right? Like on the road, it's necessary to have a place to be able to get strings and sticks and chords and carpets and thrones and stuff. But it's something that paired with this story, Marshall Amps said that less than 5% of their revenue in 2023 was on amps. Marshall.
Yeah.
So home audio and speakers, and there's also some like licensing of shit that they do is really the bulk of what they do. But when you think of Marshall and you think of a big, combo, a big Marshall combo, that is not what they're doing much anymore. And I also saw a really great interview with Phil Collin and from Def Leppard and Chris Shiflett on Shredding with Shifty.
Yeah.
Phil Collin has gone ampless for probably 15 years now.
Yeah. And
in the studio and live. Now, he has pedals. You got pedals that someone's working the pedals in the back. But he uses modulators. He uses a bunch of different ones. And really about 5 or 6, 7 years ago, something like that, he had somebody like test him on it. And was like, no, I don't believe it. This must have been this combo, this amp. It was like he thought it was a Vox AC40 that was coupled with like a, a Randall. It was like he came up with some wild thing. He bought it to try to prove Phil wrong.
Really?
Phil's like, dude, I'm telling you, it's in the box. Everything's in the box. And so what that was proving is it's gotten to the point of where you really can't tell anymore. Now, back in the day, emulators were close. Yeah. Right? You're just, especially for distortion guitar. They sucked for bass, especially. Really sucked for bass. Pretty good on acoustic. But like for like trying to dial in a tone on electric guitar, not very good. Like you could tell there's just something wrong about it.
Yeah.
You can't get that feedback. Well, now you got sometimes you've got like a pickup that can do feedback as your third channel. There's a bunch of things you can do. But anyway, he thinks he may have gotten Chris Shiflett to decide to stop taking amps on the road too.
Uh-oh.
And I think there's a huge shift going on. I've talked to a few road musicians. I want to get your take on this, as you are playing out a lot more live than I do. That are amps dead? Are they dying? Lots of people are going digital. The emulators seem to be pretty fucking spot on. It's a lot less gear to take. It's a lot less expensive. Boy, especially with like tube amps. Fuck that. Buying tubes all the time. Now, the old school guy in me still loves that feeling of an amp behind you and dialing it in and feeling the wah, wah, wah. You know, you feel it, right? And I do think that there's some downsides, but I'll talk about that after this. But what say you, Mr. Guitarist? Are you playing with amps?
That's a loaded question. Because sometimes, yes.
I am loaded.
Yes, I can tell. The thing about it is okay, so most of the, like when I do the corporate wedding stuff, no. I've got a little baby fractal thing that I take to gigs, and it sounds fucking great, and nobody can tell the difference. And the thing for me is the feeling isn't there.
Yeah.
On the digital stuff. It sounds great. I can roll the volume down. I can get I think really the Kemper Profiler was really where that started for me to start go, holy shit, this is fucking insanely cool. So that was where it got really cool. But the thing is they're still emulating real amps. Like there's still something to be said for. I think Matteo Mancuso, what's the kid's name? I can't fucking remember. Let me see if I can find his name real quick.
Mancuso.
Matteo Mancuso. Yeah, Mancuso, yeah. There was an interview I read with him this morning in which he was talking about he uses digital amps emulators as well. And he said one of the things you do actually have to know how to kind of use the real thing to get the tone out of the emulators you want. And that's one of the things that Phil Collin has. He's got, 50 years in this fucking industry. Yeah. Doing, playing on, 30 plus years of playing on real amps, so he understands how his shit works. He understands how these amps are going to sound. Like he's done records with the real thing. I think that's the key. Is if you haven't used a Mesa Boogie, you don't know how to necessarily dial in a Mesa Boogie. But I will also say the other part of this is the emulators don't quite operate like the analog equipment, right?
No.
So there's a little piece of like, yes, if I go up to if I have an old Marshall, I had a guy I played with for years, my friend Glenn Esparza, shout out, he's out in California with his wife. They live out there now. And if anybody wants to see him unbox some guitars, go to wildwestguitars.com.
Wildwestguitars.com, Glenn Esparza.
Glenn Esparza, he does a lot of unboxing of very, very fancy instruments out there. But he basically taught me how to use amps. He taught me how to use British amps. He taught me how to use American amps. I remember one time...
when we say amps, we also mean heads... to speakers and both
all
of
that.
those. So like
learning how an impulse response works, learning how how the cabinet matches with the head, how like what an open back cabinet sounds like versus a closed back cabinet.
10s all versus of those things,
12s. what the sonic difference is going to be, on all of these things. What's going to sound like in a big room versus a small room, like all those things matter. Now, when you get into a digital emulation space, you can imitate all that and you can, basically dial in that sound. So it's exactly the same every single time. I love that personally for gigs where I do not want to spend time finding mic placement and this kind of stuff. But most of the time, if you're like me and you're not traveling with your own sound person, you're basically at the mercy of whoever's running the venue. And that guy used to tour with Foghat in the 70s. And let me tell you what they used to use. And these boxes of garbage, you're at the mercy of somebody else's opinion on your tone.
Yeah.
So there is this piece of it. Like I have trust issues with sound people because, like I would, like very often, like as a guitar player, you'd end up, at the end of the day, people would be like, I can't hear your amp. And you'd be like, why? Well, the guy's not got it in the front of the house because, I don't know, he's mad at you for having an amp or something, or something like that. So I would always have it, the difference in volume between sound check and showtime, that kind of shit. So there's also something to be said for the way an amp feels, right?
Yeah.
But it's so fucking close these days. Your audience doesn't know any different.
And
they
also
do not
changes,
notice,
right? Like as the set goes on, the drummer gets louder.
What do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about.
They just do. And your ears get a little bit different as a vocalist as the set goes on. And so, like, there are, and it, depending on the song, too, there are some where, like, on an emulator, when you have it modeled to be, like, a certain sound for something, that also will be a volume changer. And when you used to have a huge guitar pedal board with a volume, extender, and like you're punching that up for solos. And like, you had kind of a system. Yeah. And now you got to walk back and turn a button a little bit.
Yeah. Some of the floor units, you can do it there too. But again, you don't have, if you don't have any live, like I have a flat response speaker that I take with me to places just because I want to have a little sound for myself on stage during those things. It's one extra thing for me to carry in. It's all on my pedal board pretty much right now.
Yeah.
But, like, even if I turn it up on the floor next to me, all I'm doing is driving the preamp at the front of house harder.
Totally. It's just going to blow your in-ears out.
It's just going to blow my in-ears out. So it's like, and I'm still at the mercy of that guy. Now, I am lucky enough, I play in larger venues, and the sound guy, you typically know who I'm working with at whatever venue I'm playing at. So I'm pretty lucky there, and I trust those people. But occasionally I get a person that has no idea what to do with
That's a great point. Like, okay, so people like Phil and some of these guys, I mean, you have a 25-year guitar tech. So, they know how to dial it in. They know what you like. You don't even have to fuck with that side in the back. Yeah. And you work with a mixer on tour, and even if it's not your normal mixer, whatever, for the next 45 nights it's going to be. And so it's a little bit different if you're like an independent slugging it out in a bunch of venues going on the road, and every front of house is different. Every mixer is different. You're not bringing your own guy, sometimes. And so, or if you're just gig to gig to gig, that's when this can get a little bit testy. When they have what they like in their room, because to them, that's their venue. Like I've worked this venue a whole bunch of times. You've only played here twice. It's different if you're with your own group. I think it's a little bit easier to use these kind of emulators and sort of go ampless if you can control the environment and the guy. Boy, I'd like to see more women, by the way, in that. Me too. Now, okay, so let's go to some downsides. I don't think amps are completely dead.
Especially in recording, I don't think, but
right. I mean, engineers will always want to mic, and and you may even still go into the box, but you may want to change that tone of where you're miking the amp, and there's so much vintage gear still around. That it's sort of a loss leader if you're like, well, fuck all the vintage gear in that box and those orange amps and that custom and like AC that I spent $2,000 on, whatever it is. You're like, I'm gonna use that amp. Like even if I could get it in the box, I'm still gonna probably use it. That's one reason. Two, you're probably not gonna have this kind of setup in a rehearsal. So a lot of times you want to have an amp for rehearsal, like a real fucking amp that has noise and loudness. Also at home jamming, I'm really loving these small ones, these small little cube amps a lot. Like I've got my eye on this Positive Grid one.
Ooh.
I really want that Positive Grid. I dig that. Nice. I had one of the little roll-ins at one point.
Yeah, the cubes are great.
Like the literal cube one. I had an Orange Crush a long time ago. Not a long time ago, I guess.
You had some REM?
Yeah, well, it was like a little 3-watt orange amp.
Nice.
But I really like this Positive Grid one that it's got, Jesus, the Black Stars, like,
yeah, there's a bunch of them.
You don't even need a full amp in rehearsal with that Black Star. Like, that's so fucking loud.
That's the thing is, like, people think that, I mean, it used to be you take a 100-watt amp, but like, the thing about, you take a 30-watt amp, right? In order for you to get one more decibel of volume, you have to double the amp wattage. So, like, for a 30-watt, you get a 60. So it's not necessarily about, like, volume. It's about clean headroom on amps. So, like, when you're hitting a 100-watt amp, it's not that much louder than a 30-watt amp. It just stays clean longer, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, because you're on 4.
Yeah, and so and it'll stay clean, and then it'll start crunching out the louder you get. There's only so much you can get out of it, right? And the thing about I am of the Mike Campbell camp from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and Mudcrutch, and of course his solo projects and stuff like that. He has a fuckload of tiny amps on stage. He's got Princetons. He's got little, like AC-15s. He's got, I think he does have a couple of 30s and some bigger amps too, but like the thing I'm looking at getting, I'm actually looking to try and get back into amps again, just because I like the way they feel and like the way they sound. But I don't want to take them everywhere. I'm not going to take them to a corporate gig or like something like that where I've got, like I can carry in one hand everything I need. Right. But for me, when I get to go do kind of what I want to do and like things that I feel right about doing, I'm going to take a Princeton and I'm going to take a little 20-watt Marshall. Yeah. And I can.
Well, it's like, isn't John Mayer doing like 2 amps together?
I mean, he's been using
Dumbles and stuff.
He's still got his 2 rocks, and I think he's got a Dumble, and I know, I mean, he's also got a PRS head. And that kind of stuff. There's like so many different things going on. Like Mayer's,
if you're playing in the Dead, you are not allowed to do an emulator.
No, and same thing with Joe Bonamassa. If you're going to see Joe Bonamassa, like there's a particular thing. I mean, he is like known for his. I think his retirement plan, his entire is funded by vintage amps, and
guitars. Yeah, sell that Les Paul that his wife didn't know about.
And so like there's something to be said for like it's, and I mean, like if you like Vance, I think it's Vance Powell has out a video. It's like on Pure Mix or something like that of him doing Traveler by Chris Stapleton, and the recording, and you get all the stems for Tennessee Whiskey. Oh, and you can hear in the drum mics and in Chris's vocal mic that they recorded live. You can hear his amp in his vocal mic playing that solo, and you just cannot do that kind of thing like the Zeppelin thing where all the mics and the amps are bleeding into each other, without having live thing. It has its own energy to it, and anytime a speaker is moving air, you have a particular energy. Right, and speaker moving air into a microphone translated into an electrical signal pumped through some bigger speakers has a different energy. Yeah. And emulation is good. It doesn't do that. So it really, but it's really fucking good. And 99.9999% of the audience cannot fucking tell the difference.
No, but here's another downside that I think we should touch on. That's a down and an upside to this. Is that like, I believe, and I know it's kind of an old school way of thinking, but the problem with this is that most people are going to go into an emulator, or when we talk about this, we're talking about like amp plugins as part of, a guitar suite of plugins, basically. Yeah. But most newer guitarists, let's just say, will not spend the time dialing in their own tone. They will choose a preset. And that, we can't lose that. We need you to hear what you want to hear instead of everyone trying to sound like Jimi Hendrix, or everyone trying to sound like C. Ray Vaughan, or whomever it is. Like, we need you to spend too much time drunk, a little high, fucking around with an amp in your bedroom to find the tone you like that works for your fingers, for your playing, for your tack, for your tremolo, for your vibrato in your fingers in your left hand. And like, that's what we're going to lose if people don't try to dial in their own amps. Because too often people just hit that preset and just, roll off the top a little bit and be like, well, that's a sweet fucking sounding distortion. But, back in the day, you had to have like 5 or 6 pedals chained, and then it went into an amp, and that amp, like, do you have the amp clean, or do you start the amp distorted? Do you have the reverb on the amp, or do you only have the reverb on the pedals? And it's a puzzle as a guitarist you have to work out for yourself.
Yeah.
And like, if you don't really like, that is a worthy, it's something worth doing. It's a worthy pursuit to try to find your own tone.
Yeah.
And then try to find how to emulate that. If you want to get to the point of like, well, I don't want all this gear on stage. I don't need this pedal board suitcase, and I don't want to bring, have everybody rolling in my anvil cases of Marshalls and all that. I get that. Like, but you got to probably start somewhere with an amp and a setup of pedals or something to try to dial in your own tone first.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that lost.
Yeah, I agree with that, all of that. That's I mean, if you want to sound like Jimi Hendrix, there is a preset that will allow you to do that. But part of the thing that was fucking great as a teenage guitar, and that's the thing is, like, I remember that you've heard all those stories, like, fucking Jerry Cantrell going out with Van Halen and saying, finally going to get that Nuno Betancourt, same thing. I'm going to finally sound like Eddie Van Halen. And they find out they sound like themselves on somebody else's shit, And like, one of the things was, like, you would go into, like, I mean, I remember finding out Slash was using the Marshall Silver Jubilee heads at one point in time. And I fucking got one and was like, fuck yeah, here comes the Appetite for Destruction tone.
Yeah.
No, it didn't. No, it did not. Now, I happened to sound really great on that amp, and it really liked me, and I really liked it, but I did not sound like Slash. And that was part of the thing was I dialed it up exactly like he would dial it. I had the same shit. I had a fucking Les Paul. I had the fucking Marshall. I had the cabinet. I had all the shit. And I plugged in, and I was like, that's not the tone for me.
Yeah.
And
that's what I'm saying. It's a journey that every guitarist, and this also goes for bassists.
Yeah.
Like, whether or not you want more of a tack, or whether or not you want a warm, round tone, whether you play with a pick or your fingers and how your fingers play or slap. Like, it goes for everybody that plays strings instruments for the most part. But, like, I do want you to try amps. I don't want these kids out there going, well, amps are dead. I'm not going to try one anyway.
Yeah.
And the good news is there's plenty of us old folks that are trying to sell our shit. So go and get something off a Reverb or Craigslist as we're all trying to downsize our live shows and studios.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out of, I think I've told you one of my goals for this year is to get all of my studio gear down to a point where I can do it on a beach somewhere.
Yeah, that does not include a Princeton.
It does not include it, but I do have a very, very, very good friend who will store my Princetons for me.
Yes.
And my Marshalls. So that's the fun part about that. So, it's what an excellent adventure. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. So, buck around with the emulators. If you're going to do the emulator stuff, if you're going to do that, dial in your own tones. Start with the preset, but then just fuck it up. Change it. Yeah. Just change it.
Make it yours. Make it feel
from the
good
beginning.
To you. Yes, absolutely.
And just try to get your own feel and your own tone, because that will serve you well in the future. Because what you're not thinking about when you're just playing live at first and you're not recording is that you're eventually going to have to really dial in something recording that is stable, and you better kind of know what your thing is, or a producer is going to tell you. And then you're going to be stuck with that because then it won't sound like the record when you go out on the road. So
yeah, exactly.
So dial that shit in. All right.
Dial it in. Shall we get to it?
Let's get to the sync of the week, everybody.
Sync
of the week.
At some point, is Kelsey in today?
She is.
Oh, fantastic.
She's just quiet and hungover from the Nuggets game.
Well, it was quite an adventure.
It was.
Yeah. Some fucking horrible officiating. Anyway, I'm done. Rant over. Do you want to go first? How about you go first?
That was really good. Sports ball with Stu.
Yeah. I just hope both teams have a great time.
Yeah, I'll go first. So I am a little late to this party, but as it turns out, I am very caught up.
Yeah.
Over the last few weeks, I've been just totally cracking out on Letterkenney.
Oh, excellent.
On Hulu. I didn't get in on it when it was first out. But Letterkenney is a fictional town in Canada with 5,000 people, and these are their problems. That is the whole thing. And it is Perfect. Basically if you had Friends in Canada, like a Friends TV sitcom in Canada. That's basically what it is. It's fun if you like hockey. It's just pitter patter. It's a whole lot of quick, fantastic screenwriting, by the way, TV writing. Anyway, yes. They got up to season 12. They got picked up somewhere in the middle of it, and Hulu. Ooh. Hulu picked it up. It was a Crave TV thing, which is an excellent producing company up in Canada.
Oh, fantastic.
But anyway, in season 12, episode 3, which I think was the last season, there's a spinoff called Shoresy. Fuck you, Shoresy. Anyway, there's a spinoff, and anyone that knows the show will love this one. But season 12, episode 3, the Skids, which are basically the druggies of the town. Mm-hmm. By the way, this is so fucking adult. The whole thing is very, very adult. There's fighting, there's cussing, there's open drug use, open talk about that, and yet very PC in a very Canada way. I love it.
Very Canadian,
This is why I love it. You know me, Stu. You know I love songs about drugs.
Mm-hmm.
I
yes,
do.
Yes, you do.
Dope show. Oh, my God. I love songs about drugs. I think there should be more songs about drugs. So episode 3 in season 12, here comes this song called Fuck My Nose Up.
Man, it's like hand that to St. James.
Yeah, and it's about like an after hours party at a club that is unsanctioned, that is basically like Hooters.
Fantastic.
But with schneefies, and they call it snooters.
Oh, wow.
You guys, that's cocaine. Anyway, it's called Fuck My Nose Up, and it's by Hades, which is spelled HVDES, because, you know, those fucking people, because the kids. But it's called Fuck My Nose Up, and I'll say it one more time. It's called Fuck My Nose Up, and you should go look for it. HVDES is the name of the artist. It's a killer track.
Fantastic.
And I love that the music supervisor went there. They just went there. No kind of maybe, no sort of this is a little hint, no allegory. No, let's just do it. Let's go there and give that artist the placement. And they did. The music supervisor, Cody Partridge from Pear Tree, fantastic job all throughout the series. There's a whole lot of Canadian artists that are in it. The music is interesting. And once they got into Hulu, boy, did their budget go up, because then you start hearing some real artists in there. But it was super fantastic. So that's Letterkenney. And by the way, if you want something like you and your partner not to argue about what to watch when you're having dinner, like, I don't know, what should we get into? Get into Letterkenney. It's about 22 minutes an episode. It just flies by.
It really does. It's a very fun show. By the way, I was watching a show recently, and there was a moment where I heard a Matt Nathanson song pop up in the second season. I was like, oh, they just got their budget increase, right? You spot the budget increase.
Yep.
In the music supervisions. So
it goes from indie underground real quick to to a nice needle drop.
Nice needle drop. All of a sudden, we've got all this happening. I am currently in the midst of several programs that are delightful experiences for me to enjoy. As I said, you're very proud of me because I am, watching new stuff. But I watched a movie that I hadn't seen that has been sitting in my playlist for quite some time, and it's a Nicholas Hoult vehicle. You know, the kid from About a Boy, called Warm Bodies.
Warm Bodies.
About zombies. Oh. That zombie that falls in love.
Oh.
It's very, very, nice. very, 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 very sweet, very fun, very cute.
Does the zombie fall in love with another zombie or with a regular?
No, falls in love with a normie, you know. And so watched that of recent, and there was a lovely placement where the zombies are about to strut up on some location, and the drop is "Rock You Like a Hurricane" by the Scorpions. And it, like a slow motion Michael Bay style montage with a bunch of fucked up looking zombies and things exploding in the background. Yeah, you can't do better than "Rock You Like a Hurricane." You really can't.
No.
And it's played for some comedic value, and it's very well placed. And there's a lot of groaning in the word brains. And the fucking Scorpions. They didn't get to any of the vocals. It's purely the instrumental intro. And you're like, fuck yeah. Yeah. If you're, speaking of guitar, fucking hero shit, try and make that tone happen.
Absolutely, because "Rock You Like a Hurricane" is one of the first 3 songs every guitarist learns how to play.
As you should.
You
Absolutely.
ready? Iron Man. Mm-hmm. "Smoke on the Water."
Hell yes. And
"Rock You Like a Hurricane," because "Rock You Like a Hurricane" is basically "Smoke on the Water" backwards. So you got
fucking nailed
it.
Fantastic. That is well played. Also, I didn't know until recently, because I've always played, obviously, "Smoke on the Water," that intro is fucking John Lord on keys. It's not a fucking guitar.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I just learned that too.
That's an organ. And I was like, that's not the organ I would choose, but okay. So anyway,
it doesn't have any guitar under it?
Apparently, I don't know the answer to that question,
well,
but
fuck you, Richie Blackmore. What, have you just been perpetuating this lie?
No, he's playing a lute, and he's wearing a fucking wizard's hat and flouncing around Renaissance fairs now with his pencil-thin mustache. Anyway, Alexandra Patsavas, the soup on the... Warm Bodies, a delightful experience. It's very silly and very sweet and a little gruesome at times, but, I enjoyed it.
But yeah, that's what zombies do.
They do. They snack on brains.
Would you, okay, I'm going to blow you, this sounds like a podcast question. I'm going to blow your mind right here. Would you ever date a zombie?
Well, it depends on the zombie.
Oh, okay. So you don't even, it's not
it's not just about what they look like physically, Michael. Thing. It's, I'm really more into personalities than boobs. So, it's really got to be, if it's a good person, if that zombie was a good person, and we could agree to, I don't know, maybe go vegan together.
Yeah, but do they eat brains, man?
Have you seen Santa Clarita Diet?
Yes.
Okay.
So yes. Well, yeah, she was Drew Barrymore. Yeah,
yeah, of course. I'm living all of my teenage fantasies there.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. That's enough.
Fuck him too. All right, check out StuMillerMusic.com for all your Stu Miller music needs. Let's wrap this sucker up. Make sure you get a hold of StuMillerMusic.com because he has so many things going on here, and he's going to give you the straight dirt. The good shit. He's going to tell you right up front, what the hell, or can we work together? It's going to be a quick conversation. You're going to feel really comfortable about it when you decide to work with him because he's very booked right now.
I am very booked right now, but there is some room here and there.
Some room. So start saving up now. Remember to rate and subscribe. Give us 5 stars. Leave a hilarious comment. Thank you so much for all the people that are over there on YouTube subscribing. Really appreciate it. Thank you for all of our followers on Spotify. There's just a few of you. Thank you for people still leaving Apple reviews that keep getting turned down. You must be cussing a lot because all I see is like X's. And you can follow us wherever you follow people. 2 Shots Music Pod. That's the number 2 Shots Music Pod wherever you follow people. And you can email us. Email us a question. Email us a comment.
Yes.
No feet pics. We're done with that. 2shotsmusicpod@gmail.com. And until we talk to you next week, we love you so much, and I hope you write a great song.
Love you. Have fun.
Love you. Goodbye.